Hey guys, and welcome back to another Thursday Thoughts. Today I am enjoying, might be a little windy, I'm enjoying a nice beautiful day, waiting on a student to come and ride Rio. He's out eating grass, just out. He's not going to go anywhere. We're pretty far down and away from the road, so I'm not too worried. But, I started thinking, I was actually at the gym before I came here, and if you see a bunch of hair on me, I was scratching Dash really good, and it's shedding season. Y'all know how it is. If you have horses, it gets everywhere. So here's a thought that I had, and it's something that I've really taken very personally as far as like working on and stuff like that, and it's about being careful about your weight compared to the horse you're riding. And the reason that I say it's very personal is as I started getting older and as Buddy started getting older, this was a long time ago, I noticed that I had gained a little bit of weight, and as he got older, he started having a harder time with too much weight. He's already a really tiny horse. I mean, technically, he could classify as a large pony, as far as his actual like height, and he was also kind of brittle. I say that because he had arthritis. He also, unfortunately, had dealt with a really bad knee for a lot of his life that was very bowed out. But then we straightened up, but it had a lot of issues as far as like he always had a problem with it. It wasn't always in pain. It's just the issues. Anyway, so I worked really hard to get my weight down so that I could ride him as long as I could. I went on a diet, I exercised, all this stuff, and I got to a place where I could still ride him for as long as I could. I mean, eventually what happened was he got old, and it got to a place where I was like, okay, it's not that I'm too, quote, big to ride him as far as my weight, but it became a time of he's too old for anyone over a certain weight to really ride him. And so I kind of semi-retired him from anybody over about 80 pounds. And your girl would never be 80 pounds, and if I was 80 pounds, I was probably dying. So, but the point is, I see, a lot of people talking about, don't judge me for my weight. And I'm not saying that people who are bigger can't ride horses. That is not what I'm saying at all. I've seen plenty of bigger people ride, and I'm not tiny, okay? I'm not tiny. I'm thick, that's for sure. And but I got good size horses. Like both of my horses are more than big enough to carry probably almost two of me. Not quite two of me, but anyway, that's not even my point. My point is that there's nothing wrong with being bigger and riding horses. I'm not saying you can't ride horses, but it matters what horse you're riding, what breed it is, what size it is in comparison to you. And you've also got to think about not only you, but the tack that you put on the horse, because I know that my saddle, pad, all that can be 25 to 50 pounds depending on what kind of saddle you're putting on your horse, depending on what kind of sport you use. There's a lot of things like that you have to consider. I know that certain breeds, though they look small, can be more stout and able to carry more weight than bigger breeds that seem like they would. So, as long as you do your research, it's fine. But, the problem is that we have a responsibility. And it's funny, I saw this girl who was doing this workout, and somebody said, why do you feel like you have to work out? The horse does all the work, all that stuff. And I don't know why you think you have to keep yourself in shape or keep yourself at a certain weight. And it's one of those things that said they're athletes, they're working out, they're working hard, and we should do this for them. And I agree. I think that if you are a horse owner and you have horses and you're wanting to do with them, then you should work as hard as they do. Anyway, so basically my thought for today is, just be thoughtful about your horse and understand that there are some things that you have to work on just to keep your horse rideable for as long as possible and comfortable and enjoy the ride. And I have had my ups and downs with weight. Thank goodness it's not been enough to make any kind of difference in necessarily what they can take. But I know that for some of the stuff that I want to do as far as like speed and things like that, like, you know, it just helps if I myself am in good shape. It also helps me with riding. Let me tell you something that's crazy to me is that I noticed once I was really working out consistently, my leg strength and the ability to do different things for longer and to use my legs for different cues easier went up tremendously once I started working out consistently. So it's not only a benefit to your horse, but it's also a benefit to you. Whereas, you know, I know that there were times before I started working out that I would just get exhausted trying to keep up with what I was trying to do because I was trying to keep a certain form, trying to cue the horse, and I had to put a lot of effort and work. And that's not even about weight, that's just about muscle. I just didn't have the muscle that I needed. And so that's just my thought for today. You know, it's kind of a weird thought, and I just was thinking about it recently because I had seen that TikTok about the girl talking about working out for your horses. And I have seen a few articles and heard about this one girl who had a super malnourished horse, super thin. She wasn't taking care of him. She would put a blanket over him to like hide the fact that he was very malnourished. And then she was also extremely overweight, and the horse was having a lot of problems, and they finally seized the horse because it was abused. And I can't remember if he actually survived, but I know that he was having a lot of problems. So, you know, ultimately it's about what's best for your horse, regardless of how you feel about, oh, are you saying that I can't ride because I'm a big rider? No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, think about it. Think about your horse. That's who we're supposed to be thinking about. If you're a horse owner and you love your horses and you love to ride, number one on your list is your horse. The horses have been to the doctor more than I have in the past 15 years. They have been to the doctor more in like a year. As far as like just keeping up with things, if I see one thing that I'm even worried about. So that's the biggest thing, is just, you know, to think about it and to remember that your horses are the most important thing, and their well-being, not your feelings. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching and listening to my thought, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.